Well, good afternoon. We're delighted you guys are here. As we say every month, this meeting is for you. It's not for Tiffany, it's not for me, it's for you. And so if you have topics you'd like to have us discuss in future meetings, all you gotta do is email the topic to one of us and we'll be glad to include it in an agenda in the future. We could not do CART without you and other volunteers. So thank you very much for what you do. And we'll chat a little bit about researchers later in the meeting. So Tiffany?
Thank you, Rod. So tonight, as you guys will recall, every month we do a fundraising moment and we do a public image moment. But I'm really excited because what we decided to do was to combine the fundraising moment and the public image moment into one tonight because we have some very special announcements to share with you. What I'm going to do is introduce Erin Andrews and let her tell you a little bit about her company and what she has done for us. And then I'm going to share a website with you all. And then we're going to come back to her after that and let her answer any questions and things. But I want her to tell you a little bit about herself and her business and how she got involved with CART.
Thank you, Tiffany. So like she said, my name is Erin Andrews and I run a marketing agency in Milledgeville, Georgia. I focus on mostly Georgia businesses, but we get outside a little bit in the Southeast. And through that, I started selling promotional products. And while I was selling promotional products, I started really falling more and more in love with Rotary. So I got licensed to be a Rotary vendor for Rotary International. And I met Tiffany at a conference I chaired last year, and we just clicked. We were both passionate about CART, so we've come together, and I've been able to provide some different promotional products for the CART Fund. And so I guess that segues into what you want to share.
Yes. So we've been working with Erin for a few months now on creating a couple of different things. The first of which is just a generic CART Fund, a lapel pin, and those are available for purchase from her. But then we decided to expand it into all of our printed materials because, as you guys may remember, about a year and a half ago, we made an effort to a very conscious effort to rebrand ourselves with our own logo using the Rotary colors, but not the Rotary cog, because as you may recall, we are not a Rotary International partner. We are a partner of Rotary clubs and Rotary districts. And so we don't use the Rotary cog as part of our logo. You can see it on the background of some of the folks who use it on their Zoom background, that it is Coins for Alzheimer's Research Trust with the blue bucket and some coins and that kind of thing. But we have added, and I'm going to share my screen, we have added to the CART Fund website a page that says CART Apparel. And if you click on this page, you will find the link on Civic Swag, which is Erin's business. And this is her entire website, civicswag.com. But look at this. She has the theme for next year. She has all kinds of things. And then over here on the right, she has an entire tab just for the CART Fund. And so we put that link from our website. So if you go to cartfund.org and then you click on apparel, it will take you to this website. And we have some apparel items and then some other items that I'm going to ask Erin to explain to you. But these are the generic CART pins that you can buy. And if you wanted to buy them in multiple quantities, she can talk to you about discounts and things like that. The tablecloth, that in case you wanted one, and then the roll up tabletop size banner and the full size banner, which we have been purchasing and providing for folks who are at our at the various PETS training seminars, President-elect training seminars. We've been sharing that. We bought quite a few this year. Thanks to a really good year, we are able to spend some operating expenses on marketing and publicity. But anyone can order their own if they want to as well. So I'm going to let Erin kind of give you a little rundown on some of the apparel items and then talk to you about what's next on this page.
Okay. So right now I've kind of put some of the basics that I see people look for with apparel, which is a men's and women's polo. I think I put several different colors on there. Let's see. Oh, I'm trying to click on your screen, Tiffany. and the button-up shirts and some jackets and quarter zips. But I'm interested in hearing what y'all would like to see on there, what you would like to have with the cart on it.
Hoodies.
Hoodies? Okay.
So tumblers and cups and t-shirts.
Okay.
I would like a heavy duty tote bag.
Like a canvas tote?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We have a public image team now that's working on a lot of things, one of which is some items that we can offer, very inexpensive items that either you as a club or a district could purchase for giveaway or for a fundraising opportunity. And so several of the things that we're looking at right now are piggy banks, also a stuffed animal elephant. Bill Parker, we're still working on that. It's been a little bit more difficult than we originally thought, but we are still working on that. But the concept is that many of you may have bought one of the koala bears in the past as a fundraiser to raise money for polio in Polio Now. So we're looking at that same concept for the elephants for CART. But we're also looking at things that you could buy 100 of fairly inexpensively that you might want to give out at your district conference that you would prefer to do. So basically, almost, and maybe this is incorrect, Erin will correct me if I'm wrong, but almost anything that you see on her website that she offers with the Rotary logo, she could probably, if not the exact same, come very close to doing something with the CART logo. And the beauty of it is, because we're not a Rotary International partner, we don't have to get approval from Rotary International, which means that she, as a licensed vendor, does not have to get approval from Rotary International to provide our items. If you wanted to provide an item in your club or in your district, and you wanted to include your club logo or your district logo, there are specific rules that we have to follow to do that. And Erin is a licensed vendor, so she knows how to do that. And then the next step of that is, this is also a fundraising moment, because every licensed vendor is required to donate back a percentage of their sales to Rotary International. She's not required to do that for the CART items that she sells because it's not a Rotary item. She's agreed to do it anyway. And so everything that we buy from her, she is going to donate a percentage of the sales to the CART fund. And so we'll be working on that moving forward as well. So it's both public image and fundraising.
That's the only thing. Some things I can get without minimums, and some I have to have 100 minimum, or whatever the number is. So just keep that in mind as you're looking, because if it's 100 minimum, then I may not be able to get something odd, obscure.
In that case, there's always a possibility that I might want 25 and David might want 25 and Heather might want 25, and that we know that that's what we want, and then we can order 100 and split it.
Yes, absolutely. Because, I can customize almost anything, literally almost anything.
But this is a really great opportunity for us to continue branding the CART Fund, and we're really excited about it. Next on our agenda, I am so excited. Thank you, Don Harris, for joining us tonight from Central Florida. He is the sitting DG down there, but also from his district as our guest speaker tonight. Dick Harris is the DGN from 6980, which is Central Florida, the Orlando area. And I have had many opportunities to spend time with these guys in their district in the last year and a half or so. They are probably thinking they regret ever having me down there because I keep coming back now. But they are so much fun, and they've been so supportive of our efforts to grow CART down there. And we're really appreciative of that. But I had the opportunity to spend the night at the house with Dick and his wife while I was in town. They hosted me, and we had lots of great conversations. And one of which I said, oh my gosh, can you share this with our CART folks? Because this is fascinating and incredible, and it's something that we all need to hear. And I will just say that Dick Harris is probably one of the smartest men I have ever met in my entire life. And he has so much knowledge to share. And this topic is just the first of many we are going to ask him to do, I'm sure, in the next few years as he transitions into governor. But he's going to talk to us about motivational-based behaviors of individuals and how we might look at that and utilize it when we talk about working with our volunteers.
CART conversation on McClellan human motivation theory. Thank you for the introduction, Tiffany. It was a lot of fun hosting you. We had a great time. I think we traveled, what, 400 or 500 miles together visiting clubs. So, you know, one of the things that about nonprofit organizations and Rotary is we're volunteer organizations. So since most of us in CART have a lot of interactions with volunteer organizations, the motivation of the people you deal with, you work with, becomes very important. What we see is that in volunteer organizations, sometimes you're members, often you're a leader, but you're always team building. And building a team in a volunteer organization is one of the hardest jobs. Now, David McClellan was a Harvard professor who studied motivation and its relationship to organizational performance and productivity. So today in the time I have, I'd like to describe the elements of his theory and discuss some applications to improving the performance and productivity of volunteer organizations. So let's start with a definition of motivation. Motivation is an innate force. It energizes for action and it determines the direction of action. Motivation moves us to act and sets our direction. It can be a learned response or culturally influenced, but it becomes ingrained in each of us as an innate characteristic. So with this definition, it's easy to see that motivation, job satisfaction, and reward systems are intricately tied together. Managing a group of people with different personalities is never easy, and it's hardest in volunteer organizations. And here's a fact that will surprise most of you. Understand that in volunteer organizations, typically only 15% of the people are there because they have a burning desire to do whatever the organization does. Most of the others are there because someone they respect asked them. So since that describes Rotary, let's talk about how personality drives behavior. People act according to their personality and are typically reluctant to go out of grain or act out of character. That means understanding their personality traits, including motivation, is important to a team leader. Our teams are more efficient and effective when we know what motivates people, our people. There are lots of personality tests, such as Myers-Briggs and others, that reveal personality traits, but you never get access to those. So we have to find another way to understand personality and motivation. So let's talk about McClellan's theory. McClellan's motivators are just three: power, achievement, and affiliation. Now, it's been said that if you listen to people long enough, they will tell you all about themselves. And while this adage is probably true, highly valuable in the workplace is the skill to gather useful information quickly from impersonal conversations, to size up people rapidly, and to predict their future behavior within the organization. The key lies in how to listen and how to interpret what is said. So McClellan's motivational theory, these three motivators are the behavioral model of the workplace. Everyone exhibits one of these three personal motivations, which can be readily identified by the content and tenor of their conversations. Okay. If an individual's predominant motive is power, They're motivated to influence others and take control. They may vary from highly power motivated autocrats to low power motivated individuals such as good coaches. But power motivated people are today people because you exercise power in the present. They tend to speak about the present, and their conversation is often dominated by talk about other people because you exercise power over people. Okay, the higher they are on the scale, they may be ambitious, territorial, and loathe giving up power. Power-oriented people are or can be contentious and often have one or more rivals with whom they're happy to butt heads. They may engage in turf battles and may actively seek to undermine rivals by engaging in overt and covert, that is, a whispering campaign, against adversaries. In the corporate world, they often have an archenemy with whom no love is lost. Achievement-oriented people are motivated to do better for the sake of doing so. They hope to exceed expectations and are pleased when they surpass their peers. These individuals like challenges and want to be in charge of their own success. Achievement-oriented people are tomorrow people because one achieves in the future. They are goal-oriented and speak of plans, ideas, future events, and objectives, things they are going to do in the future. They may be visionaries or simply goal-oriented, but their thoughts and speech are typically directed to tomorrow. They tend to be optimistic and encouraging, a big differentiator from power-oriented. Affiliation-oriented people are essentially motivated by social connections. They are primarily motivated to fit in and please others, and they value their relationships with their peers. Affiliation-motivated people tend to be rearward-looking people, often satisfied to bask in the glow of success of times past and events past. They tend to speak of people, organizations, and events with which they were associated, even if associated in a peripheral way in the past. They may be name droppers, preferring stories about people and events which nearly everyone would have acquaintance. I particularly like the bottom adage in this slide. If you're the brightest person in the room, change rooms. Power-motivated people can be good leaders if they're able to delegate. Not every power-oriented person can delegate, and the more autocratic they are, the less they delegate and the more they dictate. So if they're able to delegate in the workforce and then let their co-workers and subordinates do their jobs. But they're not good leaders if they're easily frustrated, and that's often the case, and drives them to being more dictatorial. Or if they're too aggressive and authoritative, they may actually decrease the work performance of their employees. Those too authoritative may become micromanagers and worse, kill the initiative of the workers below them. Some scientists believe those who are highly power-oriented often are not invested in their role as leaders, but are simply biding their time to their next promotion. And they're always ready to move on. Move up, that is. Okay. Achievement-motivated people are often entrepreneurial. They don't like working in groups because they don't like having limited control over the outcome. Instead, they prefer to work where the results are clear and visible. They may prefer not to work in a team and often fail to share the workload and responsibility. That means they do well in small projects, but may not lead well when assigned large projects. Or they may fail where teamwork is required for success. Now, those are general statements, and you can be across a spectrum in any of the three motivations. But when you think about entrepreneurs, many entrepreneurs are motivated by achievement. They have the drive to be successful, but how often do we hear about entrepreneurs whose company outgrows them and they become poor CEOs when the company grows? So affiliation motivated people, they do work well in a team, but they're often not the best workers or teammates because they're not motivated to accomplish. They typically are not motivated to do better, as they're content to stay in their position and enjoy their peers or the fellowship. They may not look for ways to improve their team's success. They often have no drive to improve their work status or their personal position, which makes them, in effect, the least effective workers, the least likely to take needed initiatives. Now, how do we use motivation in the workplace? If you're the leader and you assess your workers, understand that these different motivations will, the people with them will require different things from the workplace. Individuals motivated by power may need clear expectations and steps needed to advance their career. Achievement-oriented individuals may need regular opportunities to solve a problem and thereby gain the limelight. And individuals motivated by affiliation may need consistent feedback on the work they're doing and assurances that they're well liked by their peers. So with that, understanding the motivations of each member of your team will make you a more persuasive and effective leader. And as in all of our organizations need to thrive, we wish everyone great success in properly analyzing and understanding the people they lead. But as I close, let me share a couple of thoughts. We often encourage people to think outside the box, but we're offered an alternative from philosopher and mathematician Alfred North Whitehead. He says, you don't have to be different to be good. To be good is different enough. And finally, from physicist Erwin Schrödinger, the task is not to see what has never been seen before, but to think what has never been thought about what you see every day. Isn't understanding people described by that? Now, that's the essence of great leadership.
I think it's really important that we look at this when we think about we're trying to get volunteers to do stuff for us in our clubs and in our districts. And if we're simply throwing out a to-do list and expecting everyone to respond the same way, it's not going to be successful.
Yeah, remember, if only 15% of people have a burning desire to do what the organization does, to even get to the 80-20 rule, you need a 33% increase in motivated participants. And it's up to you as a leader to understand, find the people's motivation, and then give them tasks that match that motivation.
I just wanted to restate something that I said when I went to every club as governor. I said, the best thing about Rotary is everyone is a volunteer. I said, the worst thing about Rotary is everyone is a volunteer. That applies to CART also. And if you can lead a volunteer organization, you have reached the pinnacle of success because it's the most difficult organization to run in the world. And I often said, I can't give them 3 days on bread and water in the rig when I'm a governor. So thank you for that presentation. It was interesting and very thought-provoking.
And Bill, I agree 100% with you on the hardest job in the world is being the leader of a volunteer organization. Perhaps that's why so many of us type A personalities seek a leadership role. And I would guess that describes everyone that I see on the screen.
And since you are a DGN, how would you propose to apply what you just presented to us as you approach your DG year?
I apply it every day as I search for my team.
Thank you.
I want people who are motivated by what they like. So I'm looking at motivation and trying to choose the combination of traits that make for a great team.
Thank you very much.
It's difficult to in a few short conversations. But the thing that I am, when I go to another club, I become a very observant person, watching the interactions. And the interactions will help tell you a lot about personality. And you see people that are very poised, move around the room easily, are confident. Those people catch your eye. And then you try to find out through a conversation with them how they're motivated. And then ask them, what would you like to do? If you had a position in the district organization, what would you like to do? And I listen very carefully how they talk about what they would like to do.
You were saying like 15%, that sounds about right with our group of volunteers in Rotary. So you have all the other members. How do you motivate them? If they all have one of these styles, I'm assuming they have one. And if they have none, I guess that's another story. But how can you engage them? Not necessarily a survey. I know you're saying conversation by conversation, one-on-one. But if you're trying to like grasp the talents, I guess.
You're trying to build a team from the people you know.
Yeah.
But what you do is you listen and then you go personally ask them. You say, I start out with, like I'm talking to Bill, I would say, Bill, I really need your help. So instead of telling him anything, I say, I need your help. So I'm playing on the person that he respects, asking him to help on a particular project. And I approached Bill for that project because I know it's in his wheelhouse. He may just not have a burning desire to do it. But when I go and personally ask him, he'll most likely say yes. He may put some constraints on what he's able to do, but when you take an approach like that with a learned guess, that understanding that it's in the person's wheelhouse, you rarely get a hard no.
Dick, thank you so much for this.
Thank you for inviting me, and thank you all for listening.
So next on our agenda, our board president, Rod, is going to give an update on grants and the annual meeting.
As most of you know, maybe some of you don't, but most of you know, we offer researchers all over the country to apply for grants through the CART Fund. And this year we had a record number of applications. And we have an absolutely wonderful review panel, scientific review panel, made up of Dr. Levy, Dr. Harrop, and Dr. Snyder. And they serve us very well every year. They give of their time and their talents. They're unpaid volunteers. They wade through all those applications. And then come the 1st of March, they recommend to us who they would want us to fund. It's a wonderful meeting. We listen to these researchers tell us about the projects they've reviewed, and then they tell us why in the world they would fund them. And we have, in my history with CART, we've always followed their recommendation because they know more about this stuff than we do, and we follow their recommendations because they know what they're reading. So this year we voted to award 5 grants. So let me tell you a little bit about the ones we awarded. The first one is to Dr. Anna Brasinek, and she is with Massachusetts General Hospital and Harvard Medical School in Charlestown, Massachusetts. And she will receive a $300,000 Roger Ackerman Memorial Grant. And her research is going to look at utilizing the CD33 targeting to reduce Alzheimer's disease pathology. Now that's a 1-sentence summary of about a 11-page application. And so we offer you the opportunity to read these applications if you would like. I can send you one. And hopefully you'll get more out of it than most of us do. But that's why we rely on the research scientific review panel. The second award goes to Dr. Amy Nelson, and she's with the Gulf Coast Alzheimer's Disease Research Center in Mobile, Alabama. And she will receive a $300,000 Dr. John Trochanowski Memorial Grant. And her research is going to look at Calzamon in its relationship with vascular function. And her research is also very, very fabulously noteworthy. I found it truly fascinating to read these things, and I wish you would as well. The third grant will go to Dr. Marcia Gordon, and she is with the Michigan State University in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and she will receive a $300,000 grant from the CART Fund. And she is looking at microglial cellular activity in a mouse study. And we are looking forward to the results of each of these studies. The fourth one goes to Dr. Margaret Pericek Vance, and she is from the University of Miami, Leonard M. Miller School of Medicine in Miami, Florida. She's going to receive a $250,000 grant from the CART Fund. And she is looking at genetic factors and social determinants as they relate to Alzheimer's risk. And this is a very unusual grant, very unusual research for CART to fund, but we're looking forward to how it turns out. The fifth grant recipient will be Dr. Nicholas Tonks, and he's with the NCI Cancer Center in Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory in Cold Spring Harbor, New York. He will receive a $250,000 grant. And he is looking at inhibitors of PTP1B and how they relate to the Alzheimer's disease. All 5 of these folks will come to Columbia, South Carolina, May the 7th, and do a presentation about their project. And we invite every one of you to come and listen to those presentations. They're fabulous presentations. And you'll have an opportunity at the end to ask questions. And better than that, on Monday, May the 6th, we'll have a reception, and you can have a face-to-face conversation with each of these 5 researchers. And so we want you to put these dates, 6th and 7th of May, on your calendar. plan to be in Columbia, South Carolina, and join us in terms of conversations with our researchers. Every one of the ones in the past, I can tell you, have been really down to earth people. And they have been really engaging in conversation. And I have learned a lot just from listening to them and asking questions of them. But you can't do that unless you come. And so please put that on your calendar. Tiffany?
But I'm going to share my screen with you and show you how, because I know your question is, wow, I can't miss that opportunity. How do I register for this fun meeting that Rod Funderburg just said I have to be at? So there are a couple of ways that you can register. If you go to cartfund.org, as you may recall, on our website is a tab that says calendar. If you scroll through the months, you get to May 6 and 7. You will see it on there, the CART Fund 2024 annual meeting. If you click it, it gives you all of that information that he just went over. On Monday, there is a free training open to anyone that wants to come, and that is from 2 to 4 p.m. That will be at a location called Seawells, and there's the address of it in Columbia, South Carolina. And then the reception, I actually need to go in and update this. We nailed all of that down this week, but that will be right across the street from our host hotel. And then group dinners, where we'll have an opportunity to sit down and have dinner with one of the researchers or some of us. And then on Tuesday, the meeting will be from 10 to 3, and we are going to be nailing down the exact schedule as far as who speaks when. Once we know, we were waiting to hear who all of the researchers are. So now that that's been determined, we can nail down more of the schedule. It's Rotary business attire. It's not dress up. There is no cost to attend if you want to do it on Zoom. If you can't be with us in person, we would be happy for you to join us on Zoom at no charge. But if you can attend with us, the cost to attend on Tuesday is $45 per person, and that does include your buffet lunch at Seawells. Both of these will be at Seawells Monday and Tuesday. And then if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see a button that says register now. If you're a Rotarian, it takes you directly to the DACDB calendar so that you can log in either as a member of Rotary with your DACDB login or as a guest. But the other option is if you go into DACDB and you go to the module called calendar and click on calendar, then at the top, you should always select multi-district events. And that's how you find every CART meeting on the DACDB calendar. You'll see here's tonight's meeting, and it has the link that you can click. But if you scroll through, you'll find lunch a la carte is this Tuesday. Let's just look and see who all of you have registered. Some of you still need to do so, I see. And then you can scroll through and find our meeting every month, but also all the way down to May, you will find the CART annual meeting and you can register. And we have 11 people registered so far. So you register there, you pay online, and you are all set. Even if you want to attend via Zoom, you need to register here. And then when you go through that process, it will select Zoom instead of in person, and it will not charge you as you go through the process. So we would love to have you in person with us if you are able, but if not, don't let that keep you from participating. We're going to be, as I said, at Seawells on Monday, and Erin is going to be there as a vendor for us. She's going to be bringing some of the stuff that we've been talking about. So you guys will have an opportunity to talk to her in person, ask questions, buy some things that she's bringing, or place some orders, feel the tablecloth, see what things look like, all of that. She's going to be there with us as well. And we would love to have you join us. We have just signed a contract with a hotel to have a block of rooms at a discounted rate. That will be at the Marriott on Main Street. But they have not given us the link yet to pass on to you guys so that you can make your reservations. So as soon as we have that, we'll be sending an email out to everyone with all of that in an email, one click. I will also add it to the registration part of the calendar in DACDB and on the website. So literally it will all be right there for you. One click will do it. But I don't have it yet. So it's forthcoming. As soon as we have it, we will add it to the website and the DACDB calendar. I want to say thank you for everyone for being here tonight. We really appreciate your support of the CART Fund.